presence of high copper content in water, indicated by blue-green stains in sinks, can be a frustrating problem, especially when it appears after a well pump replacement. In this case, the customer reported this issue after a new 110 volts deep well pump, situated 160 feet down, was installed. The original grounding conductor from the pump was bonded to the steel well casing, but not connected back to the electrical panel. The service is a 100 amp single-phase 2-wire lateral with grounding electrodes at the meter but not at the panel, which is 75 feet away. When the pump operated, 3 amps of current were detected on the utility grounding electrode conductor using an amp probe simultaneously with the hot conductor. A number 6 bare copper conductor was then run from the well casing to the panel, a distance of approximately 10 feet, anticipating that the breaker would trip upon pump activation. However, the 3 amps reading on the utility grounding electrode conductor persisted, with no current detected on the number 6 conductor to the panel, despite the presence of the main bonding jumper in the panel. Several factors can potentially contribute to this situation. Firstly, the absence of a dedicated ground return path at the service panel can create what's known as a ground loop. When the pump operates, the current seeks a path back to the source. With an incomplete ground, the current flows through the pump, well casing, and utility ground electrode conductor because it is the path of least resistance, rather than directly back to the panel. This unintended current flow is reflected in the 3 amps reading on the utility grounding electrode conductor. Secondly, a fault within the pump itself or the associated wiring could be responsible. A short circuit or ground fault can introduce stray current into the system, potentially contributing to both the high copper content in the water and the observed current flow on the utility ground electrode conductor. Thirdly, a problem with the bonding connections can cause similar issues. Even with the newly installed number 6 bare copper conductor between the well casing and the service panel, a loose or corroded connection, either at the bonding jumper within the panel or at the connection point to the well casing, could impede the flow of current and prevent the breaker from tripping as expected. Addressing these potential causes requires a systematic approach to troubleshooting. 1. Checking for ground faults is paramount. To do this, disconnect the pump from the power supply and conduct a ground fault interruption test. This test involves using a ground fault circuit interrupter, also known as a GFCI, to detect any leakage current emanating from the pump or its associated wiring. If a ground fault is present, the GFCI should trip, indicating the presence of unintended current leakage. 2. A thorough inspection of the pump and wiring is necessary. Carefully remove the pump from the well and visually examine it for any signs of physical damage, such as cracks, corrosion, or exposed wires. Simultaneously, inspect the wiring within the well casing for any breaks, abrasions, or other forms of damage that could compromise its insulation. If any issues are identified, promptly repair or replace the affected components to restore the integrity of the electrical system. 3. Ensuring proper bonding is essential for a safe and effective grounding system. Carefully verify that the number 6 bare copper conductor is securely connected to both the well casing and the service panel. Pay close attention to the quality of the connections, ensuring that they are free from looseness or corrosion. Tighten any loose connections and clean any corroded surfaces to establish a reliable electrical pathway. 4. Consider the installation of additional grounding electrodes at the service panel to enhance the overall grounding system. These additional electrodes can provide supplementary paths for current dissipation, potentially mitigating the current flow and reducing the copper content in the water. The decision to install additional grounding electrodes should be based on a thorough evaluation of the existing grounding system and local electrical codes. If these steps do not lead to a resolution, it's prudent to seek assistance from a qualified electrician. Electrical systems can be complex, and attempting to diagnose and repair issues without the necessary expertise can be hazardous. A qualified electrician possesses the knowledge, skills, and tools to accurately assess the situation, identify the root cause of the problem, and implement the appropriate repairs to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. In situations where a well pump replacement coincides with a noticeable increase in copper content in the water and unusual electrical behavior, a methodical approach to troubleshooting is crucial. It is important to consider ground loops, potential faults within the pump or wiring, and the integrity of bonding connections. By systematically checking for ground faults, inspecting the pump and wiring, verifying proper bonding, and considering additional grounding electrodes, you can address the underlying issues and restore the water quality and electrical safety of the system. And remember, when in doubt, seeking the expertise of a qualified electrician is always the safest and most prudent course of action. Understanding grounding and bonding is crucial for electrical safety. Grounding provides a path for fault current to return to the source, allowing overcurrent protection devices like circuit breakers to trip and de-energize the circuit, preventing electrical shock hazards. Bonding ensures that all metallic parts of an electrical system are at the same potential, reducing the risk of voltage differences that could cause shock. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, outlines specific requirements for grounding and bonding to ensure electrical safety. For example, NEC Section 250.50 covers the grounding electrode system, which includes electrodes like ground rods, metal water pipes, and concrete encased electrodes. NEC Section 250.104 covers bonding of metal water piping systems and other metal piping. NEC Section 250.166 covers sizing the equipment grounding conductor for grounding the pump. The size of the grounding conductor depends on the size of the overcurrent protection device protecting the pump circuit. For example, if the pump is protected by a 20 amps breaker, Table 250.122 in the NEC requires a minimum number 12 AWG copper equipment grounding conductor. NEC Article 680 covers swimming pools, fountains, and similar installations, and provides detailed requirements for bonding and grounding these systems to prevent electrical shock hazards. Always consult the latest edition of the NEC and local electrical codes for specific requirements in the area. In the situation described, the fact that the utility grounding electrode conductor is showing 3 amps of current flow when the pump is running is a significant indicator of a problem. Ideally, the grounding electrode conductor should only carry current during a fault condition, not during normal operation. The 3 amps reading suggests that there is an unintended current path through the grounding electrode, which could be due to a ground fault in the pump or its wiring, or an issue with the grounding system. The fact that running a number 6 bare copper conductor from the well casing to the panel did not trip the breaker, and the utility grounding electrode conductor still showed 3 amps suggests that the fault current is not flowing through the new conductor. This could be due to a poor connection at either end of the conductor or an issue with the grounding system at the panel. To further investigate, consider the following steps. Firstly, verify that the number 6 conductor is properly connected to the well casing and the panel. Make sure the connections are clean, tight, and free of corrosion. Use a multimeter to check the resistance between the well casing and the grounding bus in the panel. The resistance should be very low, ideally less than 1 ohm. Secondly, check the main bonding jumper in the panel. The main bonding jumper is a conductor that connects the neutral bus to the equipment grounding bus in the panel. This connection is essential for providing a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source. Make sure the main bonding jumper is properly sized and securely connected. Thirdly, inspect the grounding electrodes at the meter in the panel. Make sure the grounding electrodes are in good condition and properly connected to the grounding electrode conductor. The grounding electrode conductor should be sized according to NEC Table 250.66 based on the size of the service entrance conductors. Fourthly, perform an insulation resistance test on the pump motor and wiring. This test can help identify any insulation breakdown that could be causing a ground fault. Use a megometer to measure the resistance between the motor windings and ground. The resistance should be very high, typically several megohms. Fifthly, consider installing a ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, breaker for the pump circuit. A GFCI breaker will trip if it detects a small amount of current leakage to ground, which can help protect against electrical shock hazards. The NEC requires GFCI protection for many types of circuits, including those that supply power to pumps in wet locations. If, after performing these checks, the problem persists, it may be necessary to consult with a qualified electrician to further investigate the grounding system and identify the source of the fault current. A qualified electrician will have the expertise and equipment to properly diagnose and repair the problem. Remember that working with electrical systems can be dangerous. Always take necessary precautions to protect yourself from electrical shock hazards. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as insulated gloves and safety glasses. To energize the circuit before working on it, and verify that the circuit is energized using a voltage tester. If you are not comfortable working with electrical systems, or if you are not sure how to safely perform a task, consult with a qualified electrician. In addition to the above, the high copper content in the water is also a concern. Copper is a toxic metal, and exposure to high levels of copper can cause health problems. The blue-green stains in the sinks are a clear indication of high copper levels in the water. The source of the copper could be the well piping, the pump itself, or the electrical wiring. To address the copper issue, consider the following steps. Firstly, have the water tested by a certified laboratory to determine the exact copper concentration. This will help determine the severity of the problem and the appropriate course of action. Secondly, flush the well and piping system thoroughly to remove any accumulated copper. This can be done by running the pump for several hours and discarding the water. Thirdly, consider installing a water filter to remove copper from the water. There are several types of water filters that can remove copper, including reverse osmosis filters, activated carbon filters, and ion exchange filters. Choose a filter that is certified to remove copper and that meets your specific needs. Fourthly, inspect the well piping and pump for any signs of corrosion or deterioration. If the piping or pump is made of copper or brass, it may be leaching copper into the water. Consider replacing the piping or pump with a non-copper material, such as plastic. Fifthly, if the electrical wiring is the source of the copper, it may be necessary to replace the wiring. Make sure the new wiring is properly insulated and grounded to prevent further corrosion. In some cases, it may be necessary to install a sacrificial anode in the well to protect the metal components from corrosion. A sacrificial anode is a piece of metal that is more easily corroded than the other metal components in the system. The anode will corrode instead of the other components, preventing them from leaching copper into the water. Working with water systems can also be hazardous. Always take necessary precautions to protect yourself from exposure to contaminated water. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and safety glasses. Wash your hands thoroughly after working with the water system. If you are not comfortable working with water systems, or if you are not sure how to safely perform a task, consult with a qualified plumber. In summary, the high copper content in the water and the unusual electrical behavior are both serious concerns that should be addressed promptly. By systematically investigating the grounding system, the pump and wiring, and the water system, you can identify the source of the problem and implement the appropriate repairs to ensure the safety and quality of the water and the electrical system. Always consult with qualified professionals, such as electricians and plumbers, when necessary.